Hi everyone, my name is Zane Freed, and today I'm bringing you all a video about Honkai Star Rail's Jing Yuan and what is, in my opinion, one of the best teams to run with him. So what exactly does that team look like? Well, first of all, let's talk about Jing Yuan as a character. Jing Yuan has fantastic AoE damage between his talent, which is the Lord of Lightning, which does follow-up damage, his ultimate, which does AoE damage and increases the amount of times Lightning Lord hits, as well as his skill, which also increases the amount of time Lightning Lord hits. While you may think that you want to go for the standard 50% crit rate, 100% crit damage on Jing Yuan, which is certainly something that you want to do, actually one of his most important stats is speed. You want his speed to be as high as possible because the more that he can attack before the Lightning Lord actually does its follow-up is much better, because Lightning Lord caps out at 10 hits, and you want to try and get there as consistently as possible to do the most amount of damage that Lightning Lord can do for you. In order to do that, Jing Yuan's speed has to be quite high. Now, unfortunately, my Jing Yuan speed is not that great. I'm currently trying to farm for some speed boots, which I've not had any luck on. But we do have some ways that we can supplement that. And one of the characters that can do that is Asta. Asta is a very attainable 4-star character that is a mainstay on every banner, including Jing Yuan's own banner. She's a fantastic harmony character that not only buffs Jing Yuan's attack, but also buffs his speed with her ultimate. Just raw increasing his speed by 43, which is very important. Also for proccing what is considered Jing Yuan's optimal relic setup with her to space station. Asta really provides a lot to Jing by also shredding skill or shields that have the fire weakness, and Asta just in general pairs very well with Jing Yuan. It's important that this ultimate also says 2 turns, because you don't want a buff on Jing Yuan to fade after his turn concludes. You want it to remain that way past his turn, so that when the Lord of Lightning attacks, that buff will still, be there for the Lightning Lord's attacks. So it's very important that any buff that gets applied to him, it says at least 2 turns. You want it to be more than 1 turn, essentially, is the idea. So in that regard as well, another way that we can buff Jing Yuan is by running a character such as Ting Yun. Ting Yun's skill lasts for 2 turns. Or it lasts for 3 turns, actually. And her ultimate is very important for Jing Yuan. Being able to regenerate 50 energy for Jing Yuan in order to use his ultimate to get the Lightning Lord 3 more attacks is very important. It actually adds a lot to Jing Yuan's Lightning Lord counter by making him use his ultimate much more frequently than he would without Ting Yun. So those are the first 3 characters on the team. So basically we're running Jing Yuan plus double harmony. The 2 harmony characters that I consider to be the best for Jing Yuan are specifically Asta and Ting Yun. Last but not least, you need something to keep the team alive. Now you can sub this slot out for whatever you prefer. Personally, I think the choice is between 2 characters. I would either choose Gepard or I would choose Natasha. Both of which are, Natasha is obviously a great healer, and Gepard's obviously a great tank. Personally, my pick would be Gepard. Just being able to tank all that aggro, assuming you have his cone as well as the trace that increases the likelihood that he is attacked by enemies. Just makes him very, very solid, and with his ultimate, he basically ensures that the team is not going to take any damage, and it will just be himself taking that damage while also charging his ultimate because he's getting hit so much. However, Natasha is a perfectly fine choice. It's much more affordable. She's obviously a 4-star that is a lot more attainable. I believe you actually also get Natasha in the story as well. So both picks are perfectly fine. Another thing that you may consider would be Bailu. However, I would not personally run Bailu. I think double lightning is already enough. I don't think you would want to run triple lightning. So I would personally pick between Gepard or Natasha. Um, so what is the optimal build for these characters look like now that we've established what the characters are on this team? Now, for Jing Yuan, you are going to want to prioritize his talent when you're upgrading his traces. His talent should be the first thing that you upgrade when it comes to his traces. The next thing you want to upgrade is his ultimate, just so that does a bit more damage for you. And then once you get those upgraded, you'll also want to focus on his skill very heavily. Once you get done with those, you'll go on to do his basic attack as your lowest priority, and so on and so forth. But obviously, you'll want to get all of these traces to the max level. But other than that, in terms of the light cone, I don't currently have it, but you will obviously want Jing Yuan's light cone. Or light cone, I believe it's called Until Dawn. It gives him a raw 30% crit damage, which is actually really important for Jing Yuan because he doesn't have any crit damage really built into his traces or anything like that. His base crit damage as well, not particularly impressive. So you really want to get that light cone because it is actually really attainable. I haven't been grinding relics for very long, and you can already see that I have 50% crit rate. So in order to get that desired 1-to-2 ratio between crit rate and crit damage, all I would need is his cone, and I would already be there. So in terms of his light cone, you definitely want Jing Yuan's light cone, not only for the crit damage, but as well as the other thing it provides in terms of the Lightning Lord and things like that. In terms of relics, you're definitely going to want the lightning damage set, the Sizzling Thunder set, I believe is what it's called. It is an incredible set for Jing Yuan. It gives him a raw 10% damage increase, and whenever he uses his skill, it increases his attack by 20%, which would then apply to the Lightning Lord because the buff doesn't apply until his turn has concluded. So you definitely want to be running this Sizzling Thunder set, as well as the Herta Space Station set. Whenever his speed is 120 or higher, he gets into basically a 24% attack increase, which is quite massive. In terms of the stats you want to see, the head and the hands are sort of predetermined. Their main stat will always be HP and attack. In terms of substats that you would want to see, you would really want to see attack percent, crit rate, and crit damage. Not necessarily in that priority order. I think generally you would just want more crit rate would be your priority. But having attack percent substats is also really nice. But in terms of the boots and the chest piece, I would personally recommend getting a crit rate chest piece. This really helps Jing Yuan do as much damage as possible, utilizing that crit rate to do a lot of crit damage, obviously. I was quite lucky with this chest piece. I actually managed to get a crit rate main stat with crit damage and break effects substats, which were both upgraded upon leveling the chest piece. So this is a very solid chest piece for Jing Yuan. And the boots, you may think you want attack percent, but actually having speed boots matters a lot. Trying to hit that 120 speed without any additional support from like Asta, for example, is really important for Jing Yuan. So definitely try to get speed boots, in my opinion. And for the band, you can either get attack percent, or you can try to consider getting energy regeneration, because the more that Jing Yuan can use his ultimate to buff the Lightning Lord, the better. Attack percent is very usable. There's nothing wrong with attack percent, but energy regeneration is also another one that you may want to consider. Now, when it comes to Ting Yun, honestly, my relics for Ting Yun are not fantastic, but the set that you want would be the Musketeer set. I don't currently have a lot of pieces for that, but that is the set you will want, and I believe Ting Yun prioritizes attack percent. She does. So with the chest piece, you'll ideally want attack percent, which I ironically do have here on this 4-star, but it being 4-star makes it significantly worse than a 5-star. But you'll also want either attack percent or speed for the boots. Sort of trying to get to the same number of speed, which is 120. That's really the speed that you're trying to hit. Additionally, when it comes to the band and the orb, you'll want attack percent on the band, which I very clearly do not have, and you'll want energy regeneration on the orb. However, this is not the set that you would want to run. You would generally want to run the Herta Space Ceiling set. That's going to be your best duo here in the middle. Now, for Asta, the relic set that you'll want is actually the Shooting Meteor set. Now, initially when I saw this set, I actually thought that it was quite bad. I couldn't imagine there was like a break effect that was strong enough to do this, but because Asta sort of revolves around using her skill to shred shields and increase her talent, this is actually quite a good set to have on her. For the chest piece, you want to prioritize crit rate or crit damage. It will sort of depend on what your substats are for your other relics. In that regard, you kind of just pick whichever one works better for your Asta. If you need, a crit rate to get up to 50% crit rate, then you should grab a crit rate. But if you already have 50% crit rate and you need more crit damage, then just go with crit damage. For the boots, you'll want to prioritize attack percent, which I do have here on this 4-star, which is great. Just to try and make Asta do as much damage as possible. With the orb, you'll want to prioritize getting a fire percent orb. Like a fire damage percent orb, it really helps Asta's damage out a lot. And with the band, you'll want to get an energy regeneration one, just to try and make sure that Asta's using her ultimate as often as possible, because the more speed you have, the better, which means you take more turns and things like that. Now, in terms of the set that you'll want to run here in the middle, you'll actually want to be running the Von Wach set. I most likely pronounced that incorrectly. It's VONWACQ. That set is quite good on Asta. For Gepard, sort of unsurprisingly, you want to be running the Knight of Purity Palace set, as well as the Belobog band and chain, all of which give him percent defense, which is very important for Gepard, because his shields scale off of what his current defense stat is. So for the chest piece, you'll want to prioritize getting either percent defense or effect hit rate percent, because being able to freeze enemies also helps a lot in terms of making sure you're taking a lot of turns while taking no damage at the same time. For the boots, you'll assuredly want to get defense percent. That's to sort of make up for the fact that if you do get effect hit rate percent on the chest, you have something giving you percent defense, so you'll definitely want to get defense percent on the boots. And then for the Belobog orb, you want to either get defense percent or ice damage boost percent. I would personally go with defense percent. That would be my personal pick. I think Gepard is best utilized as a tank, and playing into that more and more is obviously better. And for the band, you'll want to get energy regeneration rate, just so you can, build that ultimate faster, get those shields out quicker, and things like that. And one thing that I did not go over are the character's light cones. Obviously, you'll want Gepard's light cone, which is called Moment of Victory. That makes him more likely to be attacked by enemies. It gives him raw defense percent and raw defense percent when he's hit. Honestly, Gepard's light cone is a huge upgrade for him. If you manage to pull that and you have Gepard, then you have easily one of the best characters in the game, in my opinion. That is definitely Gepard's best light cone. For Jing Yuan, I would actually suggest that for this team specifically, you run the Planetary Rendezvous light cone. This, upon battle entry, if an ally deals the same damage type as the wearer, the damage dealt increases by 12%, which obviously Jing Yuan shares a damage type with Jing Yuan. So that's quite good. So you would definitely run this on Jing Yuan. And then for Asta, you would simply run Carve the Moon. Carve the Moon has a lot of random buffs, all of which are very good. So you would just run Carve the Moon on Asta, and it would work just fine with Jing Yuan, because Jing Yuan is running the Planetary Rendezvous, because she shares a damage type with Jing Yuan. In terms of traces for these three characters, traces, you want to prioritize Gapart's ultimate, followed by his skill, then his talent, as well as with Jing Yuan, you'll want to prioritize her skill, then her ultimate, and then her talent. And then for Asta, you'll want to prioritize ultimate to talent to skill. And yeah, that is, in my opinion, the best team that you can run with Jing Yuan. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, why not run Bronya? Well, first of all, I don't have Bronya. But second of all, Bronya's main skill only lasts for one turn. And because of that, whenever Jing Yuan attacks, he's attacking to build up the Lord of Lightning's follow-up attacks, and that buff will then wear off and not actually apply to the Lord of Lightning's follow-up attacks. So Bronya's ultimate does give him speed, which is important. Bronya is certainly not a bad character to run with Jing Yuan. I just think that Jing Yuan is a much better partner, and with Asta coming over the top to make that a little bit sweeter for her, with her ultimate to give him speed as well as shredding people's shields. I just think that overall these are the four best characters that you can run, assuming you're running Jing Yuan as your damage dealer. That's going to be it for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Zane Fried, and I hope you guys have a great day.